Henri Friedrich Amel writes, "Life is short, and we have never too much time for gladdening the hearts of those who are traveling the dark journey with us. Oh, be swift to love, make haste to be kind. May the light of our chalice be a guide as our lives cycle through seasons and years."
Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs, and I'm speaking to you now from land that is the traditional territory of the indigenous Iowa people. Bill Brock is our celebrant, Barb Martin is our song leader, Bruce Martin is our pianist, and Barb Glass is the pastoral care associate for this week. Lyra Halston, our membership coordinator, is here with us, and if you'd like to be connected to our online groups or want more information about First Unitarian, you can contact her through her email address, which she's going to put up in the chat. We're also lucky to be joined today by members of the Bismarck-Mandan Unitarian Universalist congregation from Bismarck, North Dakota. So hi, everybody. We're glad you're there with us. We're talking about life today, and I want to start with words from Awakening to Beauty by John O'Donohue. We live between the act of awakening and the act of surrender. Each morning we awaken to the light and the invitation to a new day in a world of time. Each night we surrender to the dark to be taken to play in the world of dreams where time is no more. At birth, we were awakened and emerged to become visible in the world. At death, we will surrender again to the dark and become invisible. Awakening and surrender, they frame each day and each life. Between them is the journey where anything can happen, the beauty and the frailty. May we share these moments on our journey, so come and let us be in community together. We ask that you keep your microphones muted during the entire service. After the service, everyone will be invited to turn on your mic and to join us in the coffee hour breakout rooms.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. I'm Bill Brock, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. No matter who you are or where you come from, you are welcome here, whether or not you live in Des Moines or have ever physically been at First Unitarian. And a special welcome to our friends in North Dakota. Whoever you are, we hope that you find thoughts which challenge you, welcome which invites you into community, and people to accompany you as you journey through your piece of the Circle Gang. Our gathering song this morning is number 95, "There Is More Love Somewhere." The words are copied in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and simply sing along at home if you would like.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Thank you so much, Barb and Bruce. Our story for all ages this morning is one that many of you may know and love, Miss Rumphius. The story and pictures are by Barbara Cooney, and it's going to be read by Rachel Brock.
Miss Rumphius story and pictures by Barbara Cooney, as told by Rachel Brock. The lupine lady lived in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The lupine lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know. She is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice, who lived in a city by the sea. From the front stoop, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now, he worked in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships, and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places, and when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there's a third thing you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she did not know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate porridge for breakfast. She went to school and came home and did her homework, and pretty soon she was grown up. Then my great-aunt Alice set out to do the 3 things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and went to live in another city far from the sea and salt air. There she worked at a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside, on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, but not quite. So, Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island, where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked on long beaches, picking up beautiful shells. One day, she met the Babaraja, king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met Babaraja's wife. The Babaraja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top, so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left the house, Babaraja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which she had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine too," said Miss Rumphius. My great-aunt Alice Rumphius climbed tall mountains and where snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping, and everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, hurt her back. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I've certainly seen faraway places. Maybe it is time to find my place by the sea." And it was. And she did. From the front porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it across the heavens and sparkle on the water. She saw it set in glory and in the evening. She started a little garden, and among the rocks that surrounded her house, she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. "But there is still one more thing I have to do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world a more beautiful place." "But what? The world is already so nice," she thought, looking over across the ocean. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted in the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. "Lupines," said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. "I've always loved lupines the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so I can still have more flowers next year." But she was not able to. After a hard winter, spring came. Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon she started to go up and over the hill, where she had not been in a long time. "I don't believe my eyes!" she cried when she got to the top. For there, on the other side of the hill, was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupines. "It was the wind," she said, as she knelt down in delight. "It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here, and the birds have helped." Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She went off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupine seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands, sowing lupines. She scattered seeds in highways and down country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and back up the church. She tossed them into hollows and along walls. Her back didn't hurt her anymore at all. Now, some people called her that crazy old lady. The next spring, there were lupines everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with beautiful purple and blue and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay around the schoolhouse and back of the church. Down in the hollows along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third and most difficult thing of all. My great-aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. Every year there are more and more lupines. Now they call her the Lupine Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the fields of lupines. When she invites us in, they go slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. "When I grow up," I tell her, "I too will go to faraway places and come to live by the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," says my aunt, "but there's a third thing you must do." "What is that?" I asked. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful." "All right," I say, but I do not know yet what that can be.
Thank you so much, Rachel. That was wonderful. Our offertory today is done with my normal gravity. A minister was fresh out of seminary and wanting to practice her interviewing skills and knowing she was in no way qualified, she submitted her name to the search committee of the largest and the oldest church in the denomination. She was amazed and completely overwhelmed a few weeks later when they told her that she had indeed gotten the position. "I feel like a mosquito at a nudist camp," the shocked minister said. "I know what to do, but I sure don't know where to start." So that we might continue all the good work we have started, the morning offering will now be given and received through a link in the chat. 1/2 of our electronic plate goes to the internal social justice programs of the church, and 1/2 to our Faith in Action partners, Planned Parenthood and Al Exido. The link is in the chat. Thank you so much, Bruce. That was wonderful. A church isn't the building that houses it. We've been out of our building now since March. Church isn't the building, it's the community. As a community of human hands and human hearts, we come together to share our laughter and our tears, to bear witness and minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and we celebrate life's joys. Our congregation has had a big sorrow this week. Nikki Keller, a beloved longtime member of our congregation, died of COVID yesterday morning. Her daughter Kara was with her. On Friday, she had made the difficult decision to choose palliative care rather than a ventilator. Nikki's husband Dwight is also positive, but he is recovering a little more easily, as is their daughter Erin. Please hold the family in your hearts. You can contact Barb Glass, our pastoral care associate, this week if you want more information on what is currently what they would like, cards or messages or calls. So please contact pastoral care if you want to contact them. And please hold the Keller family in your heart. I'd like us to share together now the names of anyone we know who could use some special care and attention this week. As we type their names into the chat, may the love of this community hold them all. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we travel together with all those who fight for equity and justice in human relations. May the work of our hands and our hearts support and comfort all those who are marginalized, oppressed, or at risk. May we be called to mindful action by the needs of those who struggle against violence or pain, degradation, destruction. May those who are grieving be comforted. May you be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May you find rest. May the broken places be healed. May you be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Every week I light 3 candles, one for the joys and the sorrows that we've shared here, one for the names that we've written, and one last candle for all of the joys and all of the sorrows which are deeply held, but which remain unspoken here today.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul.
Our first reading today is The Poignancy of Living in These Days by Richard S. Gilbert. I inhale and exhale in regular rhythm, an act so common, it never occurs to me to pay attention. And when I do, I am overwhelmed with the wonder of it all. I eat my food as I have done for 1,000 days, a practice so frequent I hardly notice the miraculous million events that happen in my body. And when I do, I am taken with their singular beauty. I greet my loved ones as I have greeted them for years, a habit that I pass off casually until I realized the deep poignancy of greetings and farewells, how precious they are, how they touch deeper feeling chords each time. Perhaps it is middle age or old age, or perhaps sentiment grows in me, or perhaps I am awakening to life in ways transcending my usual semi-awake state of being. The poignancy of living in these days penetrates me, burrows deep into psyche or soul or spirit. I know not what. I only know that I feel things more deeply with the passing years, that the common things of life become uncommon, that the ordinary becomes extraordinary, that the habitual becomes sacred. Bittersweet is the poignancy of living in these days. I awaken myself and bow down in deep gratitude.
Our words for meditation today are Maya Angelou's brief poem, Passing Time. Passing Time. Your skin like dawn, mine like musk. One paints the beginning of a certain end, the other the end of a sure beginning. Holding those words in mind, please join me in 3 minutes of silent thought, meditation, or prayer. Our special music this morning is Joni Mitchell's Circle Game, played by our own Kent Newman.
Yesterday a child came out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skating over clear frozen streams. Words like when you're older must appease her, and promises of someday make up their dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. "16 springs and 16 summers gone down. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town. Tell them, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet just as slow the circle down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. So the years spin by, and now the girl is 20. Though her dreams have lost a lot of grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams. There'll be plenty of new dreams before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, round and round and round in the circle game.
Kent, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Our second reading is Relax by Ellen Bass. Bad things are going to happen. Your tomatoes will grow a fungus, and your cat will get run over. Someone will leave the bag with the ice cream melting in the car and throw your blue cashmere sweater in the dryer. The other cat, the one you never really liked, will contract a disease that requires you to pry open its feverish mouth every 4 hours for a month. Your parents will die. No matter how many vitamins you take, how much Pilates, you'll lose your keys, your hair, and your memory. If your daughter doesn't plug her heart into every live socket she passes, you'll come home to find your son has emptied your refrigerator, dragged it to the curb, and called the used appliance store for a pickup. Drug money. There's a Buddhist story of a woman chased by a tiger. When she comes to a cliff, she sees a sturdy vine and climbs halfway down. But there's also a tiger below, and 2 mice, one white, one black, scurry out and begin to gnaw at the vine. At this point, she notices a wild strawberry growing from a crevice. She looks up, down at the mice, then she eats the strawberry. So here's the view, the breeze, the pulse in your throat. Your wallet will be stolen. You'll get fat, slip on the bathroom tiles of a foreign hotel, and crack your hip. You'll be lonely. Oh, taste how sweet and tart the red juice is, how the tiny seeds crunch between your teeth. Our centering song today is number 354. We laugh, we cry, verses 1 through 3. The words will be in the chat screen.
1 through 3.
Please keep your mics muted.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild. The memories of our minds and hearts to spirit of this child. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a time to be together. And had with friends, they will linger on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow, we have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer.
Thank you, Barb and Bruce. I am pretty darn sure that the study of statistics isn't something that makes most of you go, wow, this is why I come to church. So I'm going to be very, very broad here. If you take a statistic, say the human lifespan, and you put all the lifespans on a graph, you're going to be able to work out that the average American lifespan is somewhere between 72 and 80 years. Natural death. 72 to 80. And the further we get from this average, either younger or older, the fewer people die naturally at that age. Fairly simple idea. So 90 is wonderful, wonderful age to live to. 100 is impressive. 110 is rare, and 115 is very, very rare. But the number that I want you to think about is 122. 122 years. 122 years, 164 days. That's the time span from February 1875 to August of 1997. Why do we care about that span? We care because Jean Calment was born in February of 1875. What else was going on that year? Well, I'll tell you. In 1875, Guangxu became the 11th Qing Dynasty Emperor of China. In 1875, the Tonto Apache were forced at gunpoint by the U.S. Cavalry under Brigadier General George Cook onto the San Carlos Apache Reservation. In 1875, Emperor Johannes IV of Ethiopia defeated an Egyptian army led by Werner Munzinger. The American Indian Wars began, and Boss Tweed fled from Chicago to Cuba. 1875. Earmuffs were 2 years old. They had just been invented. In 1875, electric lights didn't exist yet. Phones had just been invented, but you couldn't get one for your home. The Civil War had been over for 10 years. The first gas engine was still 10 years in the future. The horse and buggy were king, and the steam engine was an upstart brat prince coming along right behind. 1875, Jean Calumet died in August of 1997. The longest lived human ever recorded, and there's still dispute, but we'll take her as being honest for a minute. One woman who spanned the years from emperors and horses to computers and space programs and vaccinations, GMOs and the internet. An amazing life. But the only one ever to be that long. So we have a baseline to start with. We're back to our statistics. We get somewhere between 0 and 123. No matter what we do, no matter how good or bad you are, no matter how good or bad your health care is, no matter how perfect your genes, no matter how much money you manage to amass, doesn't matter if you believe in a god or a goddess, doesn't matter. We come into this world with our ticket pre-punched, somewhere between 0 and 123. Writer and poet Charles Ferdinand Ramuz says it's because everything has to come to an end that everything is so beautiful. He's talking about the transient. And at the first reading, that seems so counterintuitive. We don't want the good to end. We don't want to end. We don't want Nikki Keller to end. We don't want to lose our parents and our friends and our partners. We don't want our children and our friends to suffer the pain of losing us. We don't want to die. But that limitation, that fragility is what makes our human lives so precious. Psychiatrist and author Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said, "It's not the end of the physical body that should worry us. Our concern should be to actually live while we're alive. Don't worry about the end. Worry about the stuff you do from 0 till the end." She said, you should be worried about the stuff we do to release our inner selves from the spiritual death that comes from living behind a facade designed to conform to external definitions of who and what we are. There was a Shawnee chief named Tecumseh. He's from the area that I am from in Kentucky. And he said, when your time comes to die, don't be like those whose hearts are filled with the fear of death, so that when their time comes, they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way. Sing your song. Sing your song. Die like a hero going home. Joni Mitchell told us life is a circle, and I agree with her. We're born and we spend those first 25 years or so fiddling with our settings, learning how our machinery works. From 0 to 25, we're sponges for sensory input. We're all elbows and knees and falling over for a few years there. Everything we see is new and amazing. And until we are taught to be afraid, we shout about our experience to the world, sometimes until our parents would like to remove us from it. We ask the neighbor why she looks funny. We tell everybody mommy burped in the store. We tell everyone we have new underwear. We paint the sky in purple and gold with our crayons. We try mixing jelly with hot dogs. It's all amazing. We're brave because we don't understand limitation or failure at 6. We know, at 6, we know we are immortal. And so is everyone else. It's going to go like this forever. We don't worry about the how. We focus on the what. What does peanut butter taste like with grass? Can I poke my ear? We're prophets and artists and dreamers of dreams from 0 to 25 or 30. The first third of our lives, we live in a world based on a reality we comprehend experientially, with a growing understanding of concrete and abstract limitations. In his book, The Prophetic Imagination, Walter Brueggemann says, the prophet engages in futuring fantasy. The prophet does not ask if the vision can be implemented. The questions of implementation are of no consequence until the vision can be imagined, until you dream it. Why would you care if you could do it? You have to dream first. He said the imagination has to come before the implementation. Our culture is competent to implement almost anything and to imagine almost nothing. So we are born as dreamers in a culture that kills dreams. The same royal consciousness that makes it possible to implement anything and everything is the one that shrinks imagination, because imagination is a danger. Every totalitarian regime is frightened of the artist, the musician, the dreamer, who says the world can be different. I have dreamed it into being. It's the vocation of the prophet to keep alive the ministry of imagination, to conjure proposed future alternatives to the single one the king wants to urge as the only thinkable one. At the beginning of our lives, we are these artists. We hold the visions of alternate futures we see differently, unburdened by the full weight of society's expectations and restraints. But Brueggemann goes on to say, hope, on one hand, is an absurdity, too embarrassing to speak about. It flies in the face of all those things, all those claims we have been told are facts. Hope is the refusal. Hope is the refusal to accept the reading of reality, which is the majority opinion. And one does that only at great political and existential risk. On the other hand, hope is subversive. It limits the grandiose pretension of the present, daring to announce that the present, to which we have all made commitments, is now called into question. And as we grow into that second third of our lives, we've learned to live in our physical bodies. And that 6-year-old who confidently announced he was going to grow up to be an elephant has decided to be a research analyst instead. We start to feel ourselves aging. And the first real realization of the tenuousness of life starts to take hold. The challenge of our middle years is living up to our own prophetic dreams, holding on to our hope. We're called to realize over and over that yes, time is moving on, and yes, we can still move toward the world we want to live in. And it all comes back to fragility and hope and wonder. You have 123 years or less. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? What is your you? What is your absurd hope? What is your grandiose pretension? Your political and existential risk? Now, I know by now you've learned things. You've learned that you can't drink coffee after 8 p.m. You've learned that you can't roll around in poison oak. You learned that you can't pull an all-nighter at 51. You exercise at least a little bit. You eat your greens. Those are the mechanics. They've taught you. They've taught you the mechanics for this wonderful world we're in. But those are only the mechanics. The middle years. They say you have to look forward and backward simultaneously. What did you dream and hope? And what are you doing to make it happen? Who are you doing it with? What a wonderful world that there are people to live and love with, to hope with. What a wonderful world where we can realize that in a limited lifetime, somebody has chosen to spend a year or 5 years or 42 years with you as a friend or a partner or both. How amazing that in this limited, transient existence that you, yes, you sitting there, you have worked for 5 minutes or 1 hour or 1 week or 10 years or any time at all, planting flowers, growing hope, helping to make the world a better place, that you gave up 1 minute in a transient life. How wonderful. In the final third of our life, the circle begins to close, and we have to discover all over what our bodies can and cannot do. We gain and lose weight. We gain and lose our glasses. We gain new diagnoses and sometimes new neuroses. And just like when we were toddlers, the whole world changes every day. And hopefully we realize that regardless of any possible afterlife, our immortality rests not in keeping our machinery moving, but in what we've done, in the hope we've brought, in the flowers we've planted. Our eternity comes in how we have lived and loved, how we've changed the world for the better, one flower, one life at a time. Now, I don't dare to give you advice, but if I were to dare, I would say this to you. Take care of your body. You don't come with replacement parts. Know that you are beautiful. You're beautiful, just the way you are. If the people around you wouldn't like you, if they really knew you, find new people. You're not a mistake and you're not broken. Take the time to experience, really experience each thing that you do. Eat the strawberry. If every day you're doing things you don't want to experience, make a change. It's not too late. It's never too late. Wonder about everything you see, everyone you meet. Hope for the future. And remember, a lot of things are pure luck. So don't kick yourself too hard and don't gloat too much either. Laugh when you can and cry when you need to. Try it all. And when it comes time to lay it all down, when you reach the end, let it be with a deep sadness that you could not have one more day, but also with joy. A tired kid coming home to bed at the end of a long day and be able to say honestly, wasn't it all marvelous? Amen.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of love, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of this community. Carry these things with you until we meet again. Our final song today is number 1012, When I Am Frightened. The words will be in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and simply sing along at home if you would like.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. as you do, then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly? Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I will learn to love as you do. Then I may know to love.
Thank you so much, Bruce and Barb. And thank you to Nancy Broad, who played the piano accompaniment behind the sermon. Our benediction today is in part from Unending Love by Rabindranath Tagore. Today it is heaped at your feet, it has found its end in you. The love of all days, both past and forever, universal joy, universal sorrow, universal life. Go into the world knowing that you are the memories of all loves, merging with this love of ours and the songs of every poet, past and forever. The service has ended and your service in the world begins again. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so.